All right, we're in the roundtable for meeting deadlines and motivating staffers. So,
I think we need to make sure everyone knows this is being recorded. So if you do not want your image as part of our recording, go ahead and turn off your video. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get started.
cool. Okay, I think we're gonna try to do some breakouts, right?
Yes, we need to try and do breakouts. 2 breakouts. No fewer than 2 breakouts.
No fewer than 2. Okay, so we have 53 participants. Well, this is good. Okay, so let's start with, since we're kind of covering 2 topics right now, you want to focus on meeting deadlines to get us going?
Yes, let's do that. So we need a question. Let's start by getting people to come up with, what do you think, Kelly? What's a question about deadlines?
Well, okay, so in some of my past sessions, people were asking, how many deadlines do you have? And how many, actually, that was Anatomy of the Yearbook. How many deadlines do you have? How much of your book is sent per deadline?
Right.
So meeting deadlines, I think finding out that information were really, really helpful because we plan based on that.
Right. Okay. Do you want to, we have a question. Let's look at the question.
Oh, yeah.
Let's look at that. What do you do when it is the contacts that are making students miss deadlines? What do you mean? Am I misunderstanding the question,
They're
Kelly?
talking about, like, say a kid is supposed to interview someone else, but this someone else is unreliable and terrible.
Right. Like they can't get an interview, or the people that they're grouped with aren't their sources. Okay, great. Yeah. Well, we kind of knew going into certain situations when we were going to have somebody that maybe was hard to reach or wasn't cooperating on our timeline. Let's put it that way. A kid would have to do absolutely everything else around that. And then we would, just keep coming back to that. Have we called contacted them every way that we can? Have we gotten in touch with the coach or the sponsor, or who is it, that we need to reach out to make this happen? That's, I don't think we've had someone be just totally uncooperative that we haven't been able to do anything at all with this person, in which case, yeah, we just have to pivot and change and come up with another source. Kelly, do you have an example or a story about this?
So many times when it's a student saying, I can't get a hold of the person, it's because they haven't contacted them in a timely manner. Like, they waited until the last minute to contact their person, and then person has a life and can't immediately respond. And so all of a sudden the contact is hard to work with, And so I found that by working up a plan of, hey, we're going to contact our sources on this day, and buffering that so that we have several days to talk to them over and over again. Or if it's not going to work out with that person, we still have time that we can find someone else. That's worked really well. But I have had times where, it's deadline day and we're still trying to contact someone on the rugby team to identify rugby players. And so I just start sending passes, and then I end up with the entire rugby team in my classroom, and we're just going to get it done.
Yeah, my favorite is when a kid will text the kid and say, tell your teacher you need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, no.
And then they tell me about it after the fact, and I'm like, oh, well, did you get it done? Okay, I guess. Cool.
That's where you're like,
yeah. Yeah, don't tell me about how it happened. So, okay, someone is saying, would you dare as an advisor set up appointments for the student? You mean the student who's the source, or the student who is doing your staff? It depends. I mean, yes and no, because you really have to think, like, we have something in my schedule called flex time. And, as a elective teacher, I'm like, oh, that's my time. But, I had to quickly remind myself that they have math and science and other important things. Yeah, whatever. So I couldn't just kind of commandeer that time as much as I wanted to. But I could, kind of the way I do to my own children in this home, say, wait, so you're here at school this early, or you have all this extra time at lunch. Do you think maybe then you could come in and take care of this? Because I can help get that student here during that time if you can come in. So that comes from a place of me just having been a mother for 25 years now. My son is 25. And knowing that sometimes when he's telling me he doesn't have time, it's not that he doesn't have time, he's mismanaged the time that he has. So if I go to a student and apply that same philosophy, wait, you're here an hour before school starts and you're telling me you still haven't been able to get this interview? Let me figure out where your source is, and let's get y'all two together in the morning, or something like that. And just, kind of gently nudge them to use their time a little better. Back to that first question though, teachers are avoiding them. That, I don't know, gosh, we did have an AP chemistry teacher that was always like, didn't want to be dealt with. And it was hard. We finally were able to interview him a year ago because we were doing a profile on him as the hardest teacher you could take on campus. And he was flattered by that.
Oh.
So, of course, he wanted to be a part of it. So sometimes there's just unusual means to do stuff with. But there's going to be teachers that don't want to play with us. And we just have to, find a different source or a different way of tackling it. So, okay.
All right. I think that we might have hit the things in there. So we need to think of our phrasing for our question for breakout.
Okay. Let's see. What if we have everyone in their breakout say, come up or share something that they've done in the past to make sure that their students were hitting a deadlines. It could be bribery or threats or, anything, like what you did to make sure, maybe one time when everyone was meeting their deadline was successful, or something that you tried. How about this? Something that you tried and whether it worked or not.
Okay, there you go. Okay, whether it were, I'm sorry, I'm yelling at everyone. Whether it worked or not. Okay, so I don't know who is our producer, Amplify 5. I guess we just need, we could do 2 groups. Yeah, and Jessica, that's cool. If you don't have examples, just listen, and then you can brainstorm or add in wherever you want.
Or maybe what you're kind of concerned about, like how do you, how do you think this is going to play out? So,
okay, so person in charge of this Zoom room, Amplify 5. Okay, put us in. How many rooms do we want?
How many people? We have 49.
49.
4 to a room. Can we do that?
So that's okay. 12 rooms?
Yeah, I can't do math. Sure.
All right, for like 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes, and then we'll come back and review.
Okay.
Okay.
Are they doing it?
I hope so.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. Whoop.
There we go.
All right, when you get your little
I'm going to
notice, click on your breakout room.
Hey, everybody in the main room here. What the heck? I can't hear me. I can't hear me. Can you assign me to a breakout? I
All right. Okay, so Erica and Amanda, you've been hanging out in the main room. We sent people to breakout rooms to discuss tips and tricks on meeting deadlines, maybe something that worked really well, or maybe something that did not work as well. And so it's really just a sharing opportunity. Do either of you have anything you want to add to that conversation?
We're looking at the questions in the chat.
I'm going to ask you to unmute. I'm unmuting you so you can talk.
Are we there?
you know, and it could be, hi, this is the producer, Brenda. It could be that they joined by iPads or Chromebooks. Sometimes it won't let them go to a breakout room, and they might have just taken a break since nobody was here in the main room.
As long
That's
as
true.
we asked them if they wanted to
Yes.
part of the fun.
Absolutely. And then how long do you want them to be in breakouts? Because we can, because we've been probably about, let's say 4 minutes or so into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we said 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll give them about 2 more minutes, and then you bring them back from the room. Okay. Yeah, it'll close all rooms. It'll bring everybody back to the session, and you'll start seeing them populate our gallery again.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
we forgot to do breakouts yesterday.
No worries.
We learn as we go.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, you know, it's an opportunity to connect, and I guess that's really what we're trying to go for. But you guys have such great information. I'm sure no one is suffering by not going to a breakout.
They just have to keep listening to us.
Yeah.
Can unmask since I'm sitting down.
Okay. I'm trying to see. So what is it? They have like a couple more minutes?
Yeah, if you guys are ready, we can go ahead and do it. It takes 60 seconds for them to get kicked out. So go ahead and kick them out.
Yep.
And you'll start seeing the gallery fill up.
Cool.
Yeah, this is cool. I'm learning a lot about all of this, so that's cool.
So are we. It's
Yeah.
a process.
Cool. All right, welcome back, everybody. You guys are all coming in. Let's see. Everyone's trickling in. Did everybody get to talk? Did you get to say anything? It was a little weird because you're kind of off on your own a little bit.
We did get to talk in my group. It was just two people who have never done yearbook before.
Oh,
So we
right.
didn't really have a lot
Sorry.
of things to talk about.
You can console each other through Zoom.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me as well, Alicia. I have no experience and she does. So I was able to ask a couple of questions. So it was beneficial for me.
Okay, good.
Good.
We only had two people in the room.
Might have been kind of helpful to have, like, even though you had 4 or 5 in the room, only 2 were really talking and interacting. So good.
I think
Hopefully you made a friend and maybe someone
Mhm.
who can,
Help me. Yeah.
help
Yeah.
help you.
I think the thing with deadlines too, and this, I'll just say this real fast, and then if anyone had anything that they want to share from the breakout, if you want to pipe in the chat there, and then we'll come to you. It's just, like I said, one of my favorite things is whatever I set with my sales rep, I do not let my staff know that date. Not even the most tried and trusted editor. I really kind of keep that because I know I'm a procrastinator by nature, and then that's even more so with a young person. They just always think they're going to have more time. They're going to have more time, and it never works out that way. So I do keep the deadlines pretty, hidden, and I let them know when I want to see it, and then that gives me time to go through, edit, clean up a little bit, know where our trouble spots are going to be. That helps. Something else, everything is worth a deadline. I mean, captions, that's a deadline. Placing the photos is a deadline. Interviews, that's a deadline. I mean, it's, that helps fill in that daily grade, test grade, if that's, something that you're concerned about, but also that helps me monitor the progress instead of just saying, this is due, see you in 3 weeks. And then 3 weeks, we could have a mess.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, if you've been teaching for a while, you've probably encountered students with an IEP or some sort of 504 plan that require chunking of materials. I mean, you've probably heard that before, like chunking of materials. So you're breaking it down into more manageable bites, because even as adults, if someone gives you a huge project and they say, I need it by this date, I mean, that can be super overwhelming. But when you break it down and say, okay, I'm going to do this part on this day and this part on that day, it just helps you, create a framework to work toward. And so I would, as the kids would say, retweet to what you just said about making the deadline something that as the advisor, but I always buffer the kids forward. And so they have to have everything turned in on a certain date, but really we're not turning things into the plant until a future date. And they don't know what that is. And they don't have to know, because all that matters is what you as the adult in the room say, like, here's the deadline. And so that's
and somebody is
helpful.
asking about that in the chat with block scheduling. When I started at my current campus back in 2008, for 2 years we had AB block, where we met every other day for an hour and a half. I loved block scheduling. Having an hour and a half of uninterrupted time with students was phenomenal. And for the past few years, we haven't been on block. This year, because of everything, they're putting us on some sort of modified block thing. So it's not quite block, but it's actually more like a college schedule. So I'll have one class Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 50 minutes, and then another Tuesday, Thursday for an hour and a half. So when you're talking about setting deadlines for block, I think it's still applicable. Like Kelly was saying, we're going to finish, by that Friday of that week or whatever it is. And then I'm probably going to turn it into the plant on Tuesday. And so if you're in the class on Friday, you obviously have that time. But if you have my class assigned on Thursday and you're in that block, then you might have, class-wise, they're all getting the same amount of classroom minutes. What they're doing beyond that minute, those set of minutes, is on them. Whether they're coming in the morning, working at night, all of that kind of stuff. But I think what Kelly is saying is still applicable. for that.
Someone asked about like other things that they sponsor and kind of juggling that. The whole time I was advising yearbook, I also advised newspaper. And so like to have two deadlines, like a yearbook deadline and a newspaper deadline, even in the same week, gosh, that would just wear me out. And so when we usually, I mean, let's be honest, like a yearbook is a paid product. It's so much bigger. It's so much more involved. We have reps and the company looking at us. We set the yearbook deadlines first. And then I would work with my newspaper editors and they could work around yearbook because newspaper, I mean, most of our stuff was online anyway. So I definitely was thoughtful about what other things were going to be happening so that you can, for your own sanity, space things out.
Right. I sponsor, so I'm yearbook. I have 2 sections of yearbook. I also have broadcasts. So I do our campus news magazine show and our newspaper. It's not a printed newspaper. It's online. We have printed before, but I will tell you same thing with Kathy. I mean, like Kelly said, because Kathy's my rep. Yearbook got first dibs. I would kind of work around that. Now that we're online, or since we've been online, which has been several years, it's different. They're responsible for content every week. So it's not like, you know, we have this giant broadsheet on InDesign that we have to hurry up and even get to a local publisher to have a newspaper. So that does kind of take a little bit of the stress out because it is online and that's a little bit more flexible. You know, if a student doesn't make their deadline, they just don't, but it's not like you're going to not notice it. You're not going to notice it missing on a website, if that makes sense. So it's manageable. It is going to, you know, it takes a little bit of planning. So.
All right. We're at 12:25. So we might just kind of summarize that. Break it down into mini deadlines so that it's like more manageable bites to get through. And then also whatever your final for your kids to turn in, give yourself the grace and space to look through things and double check before you have to send it to the plant. I think those are probably the 2 biggest takeaways.
Right. And remember, like Kelly had said, you're the adult in the room.
Yeah. You're the queen of your classroom.
Yeah. Okay. Motivation?
Yes. Okay. So do you want to share our purple thing first? And
I
then
didn't do it. You have it. You have it, right? Can you share it?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So our second topic is motivation. Are you guys looking? Do you see the purple staff activities? Yes. Okay, I can't technically share this with you because I stole it from somewhere else. So if you like an idea, jot it down or like, you know, put it in your phone or something. But we are all struggling with how to motivate students to keep that enthusiasm going when our normal is very different. And so here are 15 activities to increase staff bonding during remote teaching. So I think all of these do they all involve Zoom?
Yeah, no. My favorite is Meet Your Pet Day. Oh my God. You know, we can email students and ask them for pictures and nobody responds. It's just crickets. And we ask them for pictures of their pet and my email crashes.
I love that.
Yeah, so if you look at number 10, get together and meet everyone's pets over Zoom. Kids can use stuffed animals if they do not have pets. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But all of these are things that you can do over Zoom. And I was telling Kelly, I am a total workaholic. I just want to work on pages. I just want to get it done. And my kids tell me I have to do more team building. I'm not nurturing enough. So this is great. I love this.
So, I mean, Samantha was talking in the opener yesterday about how she was the cruise director on one of our Balfour workshops a couple of years ago. And you might have a kid who, like, this is their thing. Like, they're just super great at building relationships and just thinking of fun stuff. Or So have them be in charge of a motivator or a connector kind of piece. When we are meeting in the classroom, we always do a like a staff meeting, just like almost like a morning meeting, but your class periods meet all throughout the day. So we just start the class as a group, and you could do that virtually and have a little share option. So whether that's, there's all kinds of crazy things, and some of them are a little more involved than others. Like, if you wanted to put together a Kahoot, but those are all kid-driven things. You could just delegate and have someone who's super into that kind of thing to be in charge of it.
And, taking a cue from what Balfour has done, maybe not as elaborate as a boombox, but your kids will enjoy getting a piece of mail from you, even if just the first 3 weeks are virtual. Send them a letter. They don't get mail. They barely know, what it is and what's that box out in our front yard. Why is it there? So send them a letter, put a sticker in there. You can go on to Amazon. Now be careful, but you can go on to Amazon and find for like a handful of dollars, vinyl stickers. Like type in Visco Girl sticker or something like that, and you'll get a giant pack of like 100 vinyl stickers that they'll go crazy for. And you'll get some weird stuff. So just pull out the good stuff and put it in an envelope and mail it to them. Hey, I'm so excited to start this year off with you, and we're still going to do amazing things together. Please, be in touch or whatever. And they will love getting that mail from you. So that's a big
are super popular right now. People are making their own like custom stickers. You can do that as well. That's just kind of a fun, cute thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So question that we're gonna send you guys to your breakout rooms one more time, and then we'll come back and share what you guys talk about. But we actually phrased the question correctly. All right, are you gonna say it? I didn't write it down. You wrote it down, didn't you?
Share with us a motivation technique. Is that accurate? Is that what we said? Yeah. Share with us a motivation technique that you're going to try or that you have tried. How about that?
So it doesn't matter if you've been an advisor before. You can say, hey, this is something that I'm thinking about doing, or you can share if you have that experience. Okay, so I think we're going to try, let's see how many people do we have? Oh, I'm still
41.
sharing my screen. I'm sorry. 40. Okay, so maybe if we do, you want to do like bigger groups so that they might have a bigger conversation?
There you go. So 6?
That sounds great. All right,
Okay.
We'll meet you guys back in about 5 minutes. So you're sharing something motivating they're either thinking about doing or have done. So it's just gonna be a collection of ideas.
Do we go?
I'll go. Should I go? Well, actually, I didn't click it.
So Kelly, Velisa, it looks like we have about 7 participants that are still in the main hall. That can happen based on how they joined Zoom.
Right.
So we can open up conversation here.
Yeah. I was going to say, Kelly, the list that you shared that you and I found very quickly and shared, Kelly needs to unmute herself.
Sorry. I promise.
That's okay.
I promise I've used Zoom before. It's just I get all excited.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let you know that I'm making lunch for family, so I'm kind of out of the scope for this one. So
you do what you got to do.
There you go. I'm wondering if we should try to type something up like that so it looks like it's ours or something.
Maybe. I mean, maybe we could do a, let's see.
We can't just rightfully share it, you know.
No, yeah. Let's see. What am I doing?
There was some good stuff on that list, though.
So we do have a few participants here. I don't know if they're all active or not, but I see Nancy, Marcia, Erica, Angie, Amanda, and Allison. So if you all have, if you'd like to respond to the question that was posed, this is the main room, and you didn't go to a breakout room, not because we don't like you, but just because it may not have caught you with the technology. But feel free to unmute yourself and talk to these lovely ladies here.
All right. Are you seeing a Google Sheet?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Let's see.
So they had Pictionary.
Here on the ones that we could do online, I'll put in column A. Oh, that's really big. Okay. Well, that's not.
I think they were all online. Yeah, they were all Zoom. Because like even Pictionary, use Zoom's whiteboard feature to play with your students. I've never used the whiteboard feature on Zoom. Kahoot, I use Kahoot a lot.
And kids can make a Kahoot quiz, and that works really well.
Oh, they love Kahoot. Two truths and a lie, yeah. Theme days. Best Zoom background.
When we were doing our staff meetings in the spring, every week we would have a different thing. And so it was a different theme. So it was either like make a crazy background, wear a hat, wear your sunglasses. You know, it was just something small.
Yeah. Meet their pet day. Perfect vacation. Oh, guess the emoji. Aliens have
Oh my gosh.
landed. That uses breakout rooms. Yeah. And class movie time. Stream a movie.
You know, I've heard of a lot of people doing things like that. It's just we've been trained to be like, oh, like don't copyright.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
And then we have all these.
Yeah.
We could just.
What a cute slideshow.
That's from Balfour last year. I think I did this one last year.
So how much longer would you like them to be in breakouts?
They can come back if you're ready.
Yeah. What time does our roundtable wrap up?
You have till 12:55.
Oh, okay.
So we're ready to bring them back?
I think so, because I think this one will have more sharing.
Okay. Okay, ladies, it looks like everybody's back for you.
Awesome.
Cool. Okay, you want to go over, some people said that they couldn't see the purple handout that I put up on the screen. So we put it in a little Google Sheet. So hopefully you can see that. So these are ideas of motivation, bonding, connection, activities that you could do online with your students. Most of them are things that we've done in some form or fashion in our classroom. So it's really just taking it to an online platform.
Right. Pictionary, they have on there that you use the Zoom whiteboard feature. I have never tried that. I know before school starts, I'm going to make my kids in my house get on a laptop in the other room and try some of these things just to test it out before I say, okay, I can do this with a whole bunch of students. But I think, like I said, this is some stuff just to get to know them too. When you're in a classroom, you can pick up on attitudes and, people who are more quiet, you'll be able to get that. Sometimes we lose some of that when we're obviously virtual. And so these are some fun things to put in there to try and get everyone conversing.
So we want to hear from you guys. So hopefully you maybe got an idea, shared an idea. Do you guys want to tell us some of the things that are at the top of your to-do list for motivation?
I think there's a question there. Kelly, do you see that?
Oh, yeah. How do you motivate students to try harder with their spreads? So I always go back to elementary school. Like, I love having celebrations I'm the queen of like the participation trophy. I'm like, yay, you did it. So having things on the wall, like, spread of the week with a little gift card, or just staffer of the week who has done a really great job. So I do a lot of motivation with things that aren't necessarily like a grade related. I do more recognition.
Right. I'm the opposite. We're the yin and the yang here. I do that stuff too. I will say, we'll post great photos and different things on social media and tag the student and say, hey, look at what this student did that's just great, that's going to be in your 2020 yearbook. At the same time, throughout deadline, I will take a spread and put it, print it, or we will project it on the screen and we will look at it. Now, I don't put the student's name on it, and my kids are so busy, they may not realize that, whoever's working on JV volleyball. But if we put it up on the screen, we have a few minutes to look at it and say, what's working about this? Okay, these things are good. What do you think needs adjusting? Okay, let's do these things. So that one's just, like I said, I'm a workaholic and need to, that's something I do. I try not to be too hard-edged about it.
See, and I'm more of the woo-woo, like, let's all hug, it's gonna be great. Like, it's whatever your personality is and how your students respond.
Yeah.
So quickly, actually, can you guys see the purple? Well, it's light purple, 50 ways to recruit staffers. Do y'all see that?
I see it.
You see it? Okay.
I see it.
So this is a session from last year, but I think there's some really cool motivators that we could pull out, because, honestly, recruiting staffers is motivating someone to join your staff. So I love food as a motivator. Like, we would do, like, if we had a successful deadline, like, we would have a little breakfast party, and, we'd bring donuts, and kids love coffee, all that stuff. Food is hard now because we're like part online, part not. But you can always send things in the mail, or I've seen Teresa Proctor did a really cool thing where she went Let's see.
There we go. Unmuted now.
Was I muted that whole time?
Yes, somehow we got all muted. I don't know how. I didn't do it.
So food is good. All right, we'll just leave it at that. Motivators. Doing a higher GPA, like, man, that's awesome. I had kids like working their butts off because they wanted to be an editor and they wanted to be in the 4.5 class version of everything. Letters. This is so cool. You were talking about this, like sending mail, sending something that's personalized to them. Oh, what did Teresa do? Okay, so that's where I got muted. So Teresa Proctor, she was doing the delicious design lesson with her students, which that would be presented tomorrow in this whole thing. But she wanted to get the supplies to her kids. And so she went to all the houses of her students who were in Journalism 1, and she had a little goodie bag with the materials to do the lesson. So,
That's
I mean, like,
cute.
you might have a million kids, and so that might be very impractical, or you live far away from your district. So, if you could do it, that's really cool. And I think her kids loved that. And she loved seeing them, even from a short distance. I mean, trips and experiences are awesome motivators, but we'll see how that goes for this year.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, and you know, escape rooms. I've still had people on Facebook, even in the Dallas area. I have family that did an escape room, and they've posted pictures like they're all distanced and wearing masks and stuff like that. I want to say I've even seen online like teachers can create escape rooms. You can kind of simulate that kind of experience. So that's one of those kind of team building, problem solving things. A virtual trip. There you go. I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Discount on the book can be a good motivator too, because I did a tiered discount one year. I mean, everything you ever hear about your book, I've tried it at least once. And so this was a tiered discount year. So if you were a first year staffer, you got like $10 off your book. If you were a second year staffer, and it went on, but that was to motivate kids to come back to staff. So the longer you were on staff, the more of a discount you received.
Mm-hmm.
Bulletin board, kids website. T-shirts are so awesome. That's so fun.
Something I like, and you can make, you know, this is great. You can buy these at Michael's or Hobby Lobby and print, you know, whatever you want on the cardstock on your printer, and then mail them to your kids. And it could be a game piece. It could be, you know, just anything. Again, it comes to mailing for your kids, but this is something that's fun. I love these. And I was just using one in my faculty meeting that I had to duck into really fast. I used this when they talked about how we got to give real grades this year. I was like, oh, yay. So
it's funny. Can you imagine if you did like a flat Miss J and you sent like yourself to every kid, and then they could have that up there?
Well, and they could make a little story, you know what I mean? There you go.
Okay, someone asked a question about high GPAs, and they're worried about, yes, no, that is always a concern. You'll have kids who they have more than a 4.0 GPA. And so your yearbook class like brings them down. And so that can be really tough to deal with. So there are lots of options. Depends on your district, depends on how agreeable your curriculum office is. But I was able to get an advanced section created for my editors, and they're on a different GPA, just like how band has like an advanced band section now. I mean, so if anybody else can do it, like we can do it too. The other thing is that usually senior year, I forget what it's called, but they top it out. So if your kid was going to lose GPA points by your class, they basically no grade it. As long as the kid is passing, they can no grade and take it as pass fail. So you could check into that if that was an option. And then really the kid is just doing it because they love yearbook, which we love those kids.
Well, and ask at your district. Like I said, my current district doesn't do anything like that. The one that I worked at beforehand would let me get certified for GT through their certification process. It was just something I had to pick up extra hours through their in-service, and then they would let me give my editors a little bump. But otherwise, I'm not a fine art, I'm not a tech credit, I'm just an elective. So kids really do sacrifice. Letterman jackets were a huge deal. I did not realize what a big deal a Letterman jacket was until I could offer it. And our kids on our campus, they get the jacket for free, but then they have to buy the patches and all the stuff. And now they're letting us, I mean, we kind of had to push for it because it used to just be if you competed in UIL, which is a state thing here in Texas. But we were like, look, we want to add points. If you worked on an award-winning book, if you had a photo that won an award, you know, if you're worked on a spread that was highlighted in yearbook, you get an extra 5 points or something like that. So they've let us help write that. So push for it, especially, you know, if you notice that other groups like band or whatever are doing stuff, push for it. Somebody saying they offer a free yearbook to students who meet their ad sales goals. That's excellent, right?
Hey, this is Brenda. Can I jump in just for one
Sure.
quick second? There's a lot of people here that are outside of Texas, and I just want you to know that Balfour does provide a curriculum that has been adopted by many states for higher accreditation for classes. So talk with your sales rep if you're looking to do what the ladies are suggesting here and really kind of up those grade levels. Some of them even college credit and, you know, seen as weighted courses, and they did that using the Balfour curriculum. So
Excellent.
it's something worth looking into because it's state by state whether or not they'll be adopted.
Right, exactly. I know whenever we talk, we keep saying, or I keep saying it's a Texas thing, but yeah.
Someone was asking, let's see, where to go. Sales
I see this.
is good.
My class is not an honors class, so the students with the work ethic I need are not coming to my class. You know, same sometimes. I had a couple of kids this past year that the work ethic, I mean, yeah, it was hard. I had one student that was very dyslexic, had to have a good amount of editing, but he was great at talking to other students and could get the best interviews. And as long as he had a recording device, you know, he would come back with the best quotes. I think with students, you know, if everybody is going to have something, just find it, you know. I mean, that sounds kind of touchy-feely, which I just said I wasn't, but you know, we find it.
That was me. And my problem is like, I looked at my roster for this year, and one of the students who's on my roster I had in my dance class, and she didn't do anything in my dance class. So I know what she's going to be doing, you know. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's, it's like, it's like people think it's going to be an easy A.
Yeah, well, and it's not. And so you're, you know, first thing, have your expectations. I know if you look at, I think Jamie Ray has a bunch of resources she shared. I have from one of my sessions yesterday, there's all sorts of agreements that you can give students at the beginning of the year that say, here's what the expectation is. Here's what how we're going to be grading. And if you're not hitting these marks, here, you know, are the way that the grades are going to fall for you. You just have to be upfront about that. And then, you know, for me, I put the grades in pretty quickly. So you know, within that period of time, if they're not doing anything, they start seeing that result in the grade book. And I know not everybody responds to that. You've got some kids that are like, fine, give me a 0, I don't care. And that's when you have to go and see if you can get some backup from counseling and that kind of stuff. But, you know, if some people will respond to it, some people are going to respond to food, some people are going to respond to other motivators.
So one of the things that has worked in the past, someone was saying that they have lost students out of their program because of the grade. And I have allowed what I would call a freelancer. I've actually had really good success with this. And sometimes this is a kid who's been in your program for a year or two and you know them really well. And then for whatever reason, the scheduling gods do not align and a required class for them happens at the time that your yearbook class is. And so they want to be part of the program, but it like logistically cannot work in their schedule, their official schedule. And so I have done these freelance things where it's just a conversation between me and the kid. What can we accomplish? Like, what do you want to do? And a lot of it has to be self-motivated because they're not going to be with the rest of the group. So that's why it's really good if it's a kid who's already had a year on staff so that they know the expectations and they know that. And I've had really good luck with this because it's those kids who just love yearbook and they want to stay connected. And I would have them, I would say, you know, just make a little schedule that works for you. And I would have a girl that came every day first period. She could have just slept in an extra hour, but she came every day first period and worked in the office on yearbook stuff. And even when she was going to be absent, she would text me and I'm like, I have no attendance record for you or grade book. So like, that's awesome that you're telling me that, but you know, feel better. So just think outside the box as far as if it's a kid that you really want, there's ways to make it work. Sometimes it's just not optimal, but we can get creative.
Right. And that's what the person there, sometimes you have to meet them where they are and find an activity they can be successful at. Agreed. Yeah. The one I've read them, the handbook, I have them read the handbook and their parents on a Google form, and I quiz them on it. Same thing. We have all these forms that we have them sign. I keep them. Some years, if I have a straggler who hasn't turned in the form, I won't let them check out a camera or, fully participate in that way until I get that form, because obviously my administration is going to need that as documentation if I get into a situation where a student isn't handling our responsibility the way we need them to. And I do the same thing, a quiz. Mine is more on checking out the gear, because I have students that will, leave the camera in the car or in the bottom of the closet. It's not brought back in a timely manner. That kind of thing. We do some of that. Let's see. Am I missing anything else? Do you design the form, or can we find it somewhere online? If you go on here, I'll show you. If you go to the Attendify app, the first session I did yesterday was how to get your team wheels up. And that's my scope and sequence presentation. So if you go all the way down, there are all these PDFs that I don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
All these PDFs, and they're all in there, and you can download them. If they're PDFs and they have my name and stuff all over them, but if you you can edit them, you can copy and paste, and I don't care, do whatever you want to do with them. I've shared them, I think, with the world. So.
All right. I think our time is up. Time flies when you're talking about deadlines and motivation.
There you go.
Sometimes we need some motivation as well.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, I think that's it.